Hey, what's going on? Friday. So there it was, 2014. Pay attention, 2014. Had a gym, thought things were going fairly well, but they really weren't. I was truly blinded. And came time where I had to pay the bills. And see, at 2014, I was 6 years into owning a gym. And while things I kind of knew on one hand, they weren't going so hot, the end of the month was here, like it is today on the 31st. And I didn't have enough to pay all of my bills. We didn't have enough to cover the expenses at the gym, didn't have enough to take care of my payroll. And I'll never forget, because it was a day that I made my wife cry. And I would say there was probably some tears over the last 18 years, but stay with me here when I want to share this with you. Because I'm on a commute right now that really wasn't very fun the first couple of times. In fact, for about a year, it wasn't very fun at all. Because there was a time in my life where I actually thought I was a failure. And it was that day. I remember it was the end of the month. I had to pay bills, had to pay my staff. I had a gym at the time and people to pay and expenses and overhead and all that. And what happened was I didn't have the money. We didn't have the money, despite my wife working part-time and having a gym and all that, and it was what I thought okay. Wasn't as careful about my finances as I had thought I was. And here we were, stuck. This is 2014. So I'm sharing this from my commute, the actual commute that I had to make after this moment, because after that day, what we had to do is actually take one of our cars and take it down the street about 3 miles. And I'll never forget that drive. We had 2 cars in the family and 1 car we had to sell because we had to make what we needed. We had to get the cash. And I'll never forget that drive with my wife, because that day was a day of defeat. We felt failure. And maybe you're sitting at the end of this month, and maybe it's the last couple of months you felt like a failure. And I'm going to just share this with you in hopes that it gives you some hope. Let me get across this road here. This is bringing back some memories. This is a short commute, mind you, but it was one that I had to make because we only had 1 car. Because I remember driving 2 cars to sell one of our cars, and I'll never forget the drive home. So we sold the car for $10,000, and it helped cover expenses, helped cover the bills for the month. And then it was just a struggle from then on out. But I had to make a big decision. I had to, aka, pull up my big boy pants. Oops, I'm kind of stuck right here. Hold on a second. Give me 1 second. I got to get around this. I didn't know. See, I hadn't taken this commute in a while. So I had to pull up my big boy pants. And I say that as that I had to, I was a provider for my family. So as you're listening to this is reminiscent. There's a little back alley. I took the back way to work. So we're driving home, and I'll never forget, my wife was crying. And she wasn't crying like feeling embarrassed about it. She was crying because we put our heart and everything we had into this gym, and it was failing. And I say failing, it just wasn't moving forward. We weren't growing. It wasn't getting better. It wasn't improving. Whatever, regardless of the reason why, it doesn't matter. We were 5 years into a gym, 4.5, 5 years into a gym that wasn't succeeding. And I'm just sharing this vulnerable post because I know it's the end of the month, and maybe you're struggling with bills and struggling with your health, struggling with life, struggling with all the madness going on in this world. And man, this is emotional because I'm almost close to the gym. That's no longer a gym when we sold it. And I'll never forget that ride back home with my wife in the car, in 1 car. And we had that 1 car, and she was crying. And I'll never forget it. And it was a moment. It really was a struggling moment. And I want to share this with you. And it came up, and I'm actually taking my bike to the gym right now to work out. Got my mask, got my towel, got my water bottle. But I'm going to go by, before I go to the gym I'm going to work out, I'm going to go by my old gym. And this is the commute I had. It was about half a mile, give or take. Maybe half, 3/4 of a mile. And I would go here to my gym and open up the doors. And I did that for a year on a bike. My wife had the car. She had to drive to work a little further than me. And for a whole year, I rode, not this bike, but I rode a bike right here to this spot. I'm going to show you with this. Now it's no longer a gym. I'm going to show you right here. So this is the back entrance. 19 now. I believe that there's actually inside here, inside of the space. You see, it's a back of a warehouse. And inside of the space is about 5,000 square feet of a gym, which once was a gym, Atlantic Beach Performance. And maybe you saw some of those. Maybe you saw some of those things. Hey, maybe you saw some of those. Sorry, there's a guy pulling in. Maybe you saw some of this post of the old gym that I used to have. And I would ride that bike for a year, back and forth to gym. And it wasn't a big commute. But what it felt that whole time, honestly, and the time it took for us to decide to make the decision to sell it and move on, it was, I felt like a failure. You know, we put all of our effort into it. Here, I've been in the industry for a long time. I should be able to open a gym and be able to do well. I know there's a lot of gyms right now failing. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is, while we still have one. We actually have 2 cars now. We have 3 now, but because our son's driving. But I wanted to share this with you because I wanted to give you hope, not to feel bad about me, because I can tell you, in that time, I really learned how to pull up my big boy pants. In a sense, is I had to shift. I had to make adjustments. I had to adapt. I had to actually do the things that I needed to do. I had to actually rely on more than just my own effort, and that's where my faith came in. Let's see, at the time, I was also pursuing my faith and my journey with the Lord, and he just started to say, man, just lean in on me. It's going to be okay. Lean in on me more. Lean in on your faith. Lean in on prayer. Lean in on that understanding. And as I stand here now in 2014, we're 6 years later, 2 things that happened today. 2 things that happened. I had to go pick up my bike because the chain was all rusted out. And I said, you know what? Today I'm going to go to the gym that I'm going to work out. It's right here. And it made me think it's the end of the month. And I was thinking back to a few years when we had 1 car and it was a struggle and we were trying to just make ends meet. And it was tough. And at the same time, I'm just about ready to go to the gym. I got a notification because at the same time, my credit went down the toilet. My credit was terrible. It was like under 600, 500 something. It was ridiculous. It was bad. And I'm sharing this all with you, this vulnerable post, is 2 things. I don't ever want to see my wife cry. So if you have a spouse and you know that there might be tears right now because of your position you're in, whether it be financial, maybe it's emotional, maybe it's just stress, maybe it's your health. And in these moments is to think that you can get through it, because it's just, at the time it feels terrible. So if you're in a moment right now that feels just terrible, just know you're going to get through this. And I guess I don't know how, I don't know when. I didn't know how and I didn't know when, but here I am 6 years later, and I'm in a different place. And it doesn't mean that it's better than what your position you're in or wherever you're going through, or worse than that. It's just to tell you to have hope and to lean in and understand that maybe the season is a rough season for you. Maybe it's a rough season that you have to endure. Maybe your credit's in the toilet. Maybe you had to sell one of your cars. But I want to just give you hope on this Friday, the end of the month, the last day of the month, to know that you will get through this. And I don't know how, and I don't know when, but I know you're going to get through this, because I'll tell you, I did not feel like I was going to get through it at the time. I thought I was like, that's it. Am I done? My whole fitness career is done. And it's kind of crazy to think. Now, I got a notification on my phone about an hour ago, and it said, and I've never been in an 800. I say my credit went to the toilet. My credit's like 850, all the credit reports and stuff. And I built it back up. Did it happen overnight? No, it didn't happen overnight, but it happened by pressing forward, by moving, by leaning in on my faith, by leaning in on people who I could rely on, who could build me up, who can encourage me. Maybe this is encouraging to you right now. And I hope it is. And I hope if you're struggling and you're stuck and it's Friday, it's the end of the month, and you don't know where you're going to go next, is that this encouragement, and I'll pray for you, and that you can get through it. You will. Maybe you have to ride your bike to work. Maybe you have to find a new job. Maybe you have to decide now is the time you need to start taking care of your health, and you need to start taking care of yourself and your family. And I don't know what that looks like, but I want to just provide this bit of hope for you that you can get through this. Another day is going to come, God willing, another day, another month, another year, and you can press on, you can press forward. And that's just my encouragement to you. It's a little late dose, if you call it, my afternoon dose, but I just felt inspired. God was nudging me and saying, man, just share your story. I did not like the commute, especially when it's like 95 degrees. I didn't like the commute to work, to go into a gym, to have to put on a smiling face and to coach people into better health, knowing that the gym was on its verge of having to close. And luckily, God came through and helped us sell it before we had to actually close up shop and decide what's next. It was a hard moment. Don't feel bad for me, because here's the thing. And I'm going to tell you this is the most important thing. So if you listen to this point, is I feel through that valley, that tough time in my life, that it helps shape and define who I am. Who I am as a dad, who I am as a husband, who I am as a Christian, who I am as a business person. It really has helped shape some of the things in my life, the values in my life right now, today, in my business right now, in my relationship with my wife, relationship with my kids, relationship with my clients and the people that I coach that come into my world, you, my viewers who come on and take the time to listen to me. I feel sometimes it's in those valleys, those hard moments of life, that God's trying to teach you the most important lessons in your life. And I would say, think about this, if it was easy, if everything was easy, if we could just get through the times and it could just be easy breezy, lemon squeezy, whatever, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, we would not learn how to appreciate. And I can tell you right now, as I took that commute past my old gym, I'm really, really grateful, really blessed, really appreciative grateful that God took me through that, because I think it's helped define who I am and helped shape my life in a way that again, it's even more so than the celebrations of having a high credit score or maybe being able to drive another car again, not having to share one car in a family. And we did that for a whole year. It's something that I just want to encourage you and give you the inspiration, give you the blessings, and just to let you know that, man, I almost got through it without being emotional. But I know there's people out there struggling. I know that might be you. Let's get distracted by the plane. But I can tell you this. Lean on your faith. If you don't even know what faith is, lean on somebody else who has strong faith. Lean into God. Let him take over. Just lean, and you have to sometimes surrender all the junk in your life in order for you to actually move forward. And maybe that's your chance today. Maybe at the end of the month, you need to do that, is to lean forward into the Lord and hand him all the junk, all the relationship troubles, all the financial worries, maybe all your health struggles. And that could be today. Tomorrow can start a new day, a new month. Tomorrow's a brand new month. It's August. We're going into the, eighth month of the year. 2020, I think some of you wish you could just put it right behind you. But no, tomorrow's going to be a new month. It's going to be the next month of the year, and you still have to move forward. You're still going to have family if you have kids and a wife and you have a job. Maybe you don't have a job. Maybe you have to find a new job. Well, get on your bike and go find a job. Maybe you have to sell your car. Whatever you need to do, make it happen. If you need to be around somebody, you need to talk to somebody that's been through it. I'm one of those people. I'm not the only person. I know there's a lot of people struggling, but right now I'm here to tell you that there is another side. There is another side, right? The grass might not be green where you're at, but it's going to be green where you water it. And my message to you is today, where do you need to water your grass to make it grow and make it get better and make your life better? That's all I got. I'm going to go hit a workout. I hope I don't get somebody tell me for crying. But anyway, I love you. I appreciate all of you for watching. If you're checking this out on the replay, thank you so much. Keep following me. I want to keep inspiring you. I have a goal for 1,000 people this year. Share it with your friends. Share it, even if it just come on for a daily dose of whatever comes out of my mouth. And again, it's all being driven from the Lord. So take care and God bless. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great weekend.